Lee Cantor here, another episode of Veterans Business Radio. Today on the show, we have the founder and CEO of TOAMS Financial, Mario Payne. Welcome.
How we doing today?
We are doing well. I am so excited to learn what you're up to. Tell us about TOAMS Financial. How you serving folks?
Now we help people. So TOAMS Financial stands for Tithe, Offering, Alms, means stewardship. So if I'm being a good steward of your money, then preferably you be able to tithe more, which is the T, offer more, which is the O, give glory to God, financial, which is alms, means stewardship. So we help people three different ways. It's like three pillars to wealth, right? We first invest your money. Now, when you think about investing, though, what sets us apart from other investors or financial firms is that as a certified financial planner, we talk more about passive income than stock market investing. We love the stock market. All of our clients are in the stock market. But Lee, can I tell you something? Can I tell you a secret, Lee?
Tell me a secret.
A lot of people don't like to invest in the stock market. A lot of people like making money though, but not with the stock market. So we actually go over how can they make money passively. You see, most financial advisors, they just they want you to do stocks because that's how they get compensated. But we kind of lean into, do you want to do real estate? If so, we help them structure real estate deals and find lenders to get the best deals possible, right? And if we save them money to make sure that they don't pay taxes on those real estate deals. They either do a 1031 exchange or cash out refi and kind of grow their worth that way. We have people that, are having transportation companies with either semi trucks or cargo vans or gig cars. So that's the first pillar. You and where you're at currently, how do you want your money to grow investment wise? We help that. And then the second pillar is all about saving money because we all know, Lee, when we make money, we got to pay taxes. Now, as veterans, sometimes depending on our disability, we don't pay a lot of taxes, but still we do have to pay taxes. So how can we, from a tax standpoint, strategize so we don't pay taxes? We have CPAs that work for us. As a certified financial planner, I am a tax strategist, so we help there. And then that last pillar is protection, and that's through creating a trust. So we do estate planning. We have attorneys in-house where we create a trust, and we're an empowered attorney for our clients as well. So those three pillars of wealth is what sets TOAMS Financial different than most other financial firms.
So can you share a little bit about the backstory of why you chose to start your own firm rather than do what, a lot of financial folks do is just work for somebody else?
Oh, ownership and not loanership. So Lee, I started this business in 2007. And I worked for a company called Edward Jones. So no shade against Edward Jones. Edward Jones trained me. They didn't have to hire me coming out of college. And in 2007, we know what happened in 2008, right? The
Yep.
market went kablooey. We had the Great Recession. And a lot of companies laid off their new financial advisors. I have friends who worked for A.G. Edwards, laid off, friends who worked for Merrill Lynch. But Edward Jones said that if you are producing, we are going to not lay you off. So I'm ever grateful that they stuck around with me during the Great Recession in 2008, 2009. But in 2013, 6 years after being a basic employee and kind of running my own office with Edward Jones, I did the numbers. And the numbers were, okay, do I for every $100 I make, give them $60 of revenue when I'm doing all the work? Or should I start my own firm and pocket the revenue and really serve clients because now we have more money, we could do more premium things for clients. So that's why in 2013, I said, you know what? I want to do what's best for my clients. And if I have my own firm, I can add more premium services. I can actually decrease their fees because I'm making more money. And that's why when I made the switch to start my own investment firm in 2013.
So now is part of your model that you have other financial advisors working with you and for you?
Yeah, so we did have financial advisors work with us at one time. That's just a hassle. It's just a hassle. So what we do from a referral standpoint is however a person wants to grow their money, we have partnerships. And people talk about ROI is return on investments. Believe you me, Lee, real ROI is relationships over independence. And so because from an investment standpoint, we have things that's automated. We have models that are automated through automation, have our staff that's able to change depending on what I want to have happen. It's very easy to kind of manage clients' money with the automation standpoint. So we don't need, a lot of financial advisors like we did in the past because automation does that. It's more kind of headaches. And now I'm a babysitter. I don't want to be a babysitter. I want to be a certified financial planner. I want to manage your money properly. I want to manage our relationship. I want to make sure you get into the right deals that you want to. I want to manage people. So I made a decision a few years ago as other financial advisors were starting their own firms, not to hire anybody, So we do have a staff. We have a staff of over 15 individuals. So we're fully staffed, of course, but we are helping clients from a service standpoint. We're not trying to babysit and bring in other financial advisors.
So when you decided to go this route, which is kind of a contrarian route in this field, which I'm sure you know,
Yep.
how did you build the business? Because now you're building a business that isn't exactly doing the same work you were doing when you were, just working for somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, business principles are the same, right? Business runs the same. It's all about helping clients, knowing the market, providing a service, and being better than the competition, right? If I am a dog groomer, right, or I'm grooming dogs all day, right? If I'm providing a service, if I'm grooming my dogs better, if my prices are lower or if equal value, and I'm marketing myself correctly, I can be the best groomers possible. So business is business. I like it though because we are niche. Again, most financial advisors, most certified financial planners, so they're only working with clients to invest their money in the stock market because that's how they get compensated. And nothing's wrong with that. We love stocks. I built my wealth, whatever wealth is for people, right, through stocks. 80% of what we do is stocks. So I'm not anti-stock, but I'm not 100% stock market either because people want to have a financial planner or a financial advisor that gives them advice for them. And a lot of times, if a person wants to diversify and get out the stock market and do real estate or do a transportation company or do something around that nature, financial advisor doesn't really give them the tools and resources to do that. We do. We have lenders that we work with. If a client wants to do a real estate deal, we either get them hooked up with a lender that does a DSCR loan where they can do with no credit check, no hard or soft pull in your credit, with no tax returns. You can buy that income producing property and only put 20% down. We have lenders that actually do asset based lending, right? Or after repair value loans where you can literally buy a property with no money out your pocket and also then get money to help repair the house and then just refinance it within a matter of 6 to 18 months, right? Financial advisors are helping you through the process. For clients that want to do developments, we find opportunity zones and we help them structure their LLC where it's in the opportunity zone to make sure that because of new laws passed by the current administration, if you hold it for 10 years, you can then sell it and not pay taxes and have that growth being tax deferred over 10 years. Financial advisors aren't doing that. So that's a niche that sets us apart. I think that's why we have so many clients and that's why we're blessed to have so much of a large firm.
Is the activities you're doing as the leader of this organization similar to the activities you were doing when you were working for somebody else in terms of trying to generate clients, or did you have to do something differently when it came to getting new clients?
Well, my days at Edward Jones was totally different. Edward Jones, it thinks like a crazy business model, but it works. Edward Jones' business model was you knock on doors. You knock on doors, you have an office in the community, and you knock on doors. In 2007, 2008, early 2009, half of my day I knocked on doors and just introduced myself to the community. And that's how I built my business. Now, I don't know how many people are knocking on doors now. In 2007, 2008, when I first started, it's totally different to 2026. Now you have social media, right? So we're big on marketing. We do a lot of content, as you can see, what people can or cannot see above me on my right hand side. We just hit 100,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel because we do a lot of long form content about stocks, about real estate, about growing your net worth, about decreasing your taxes. So, from a marketing standpoint, a large amount of our marketing is on social media, and we see a lot of our businesses on social media. However, the fastest way, in my opinion, to receive clients is a referral. So everybody that we meet with that's a client, we always ask the same question before we stop talking to them. Who do you know that I can help like I just helped you? Because preferably we have helped them. We gave them that warm and fuzzy feeling about their money growing, about their assets growing. So if we're doing a good job for them, providing a great service, then preferably they're going to tell me who they know that I can help like we just helped them. Then that helps us grow our business as well.
And that's great advice for listeners in any business, right? To have a system and process in place that helps you get your next client from your current client.
Yeah, and automation too. So to take it a step further, our business, when I say automated, it's automated. One on their birthday, they get a happy birthday video that we create, right? Once a year, out the blue, we send them a playlist of their favorite singers' 20 best songs. So Think about this, Lee. Is your doctor, is your lawyer, is your tax professional out the blue sending you a playlist of the 20 best songs by your favorite musician?
No, they never asked.
Yeah, that sets us apart. Also, when a person comes on, we have an onboarding form. We ask them, what is your go-to meal? Whatever their go-to meal is, we actually create a recipe, video recipe, and we ask them when they make the food to post a picture. And when they post that picture, we put that on our social media saying, look at our client, look what we do for our clients. It's more about investing money. It's about building a long-term relationship, right? So we have the go-to meal. What's your favorite cuisine? And then we send them another video how to make their cuisine and ask them to do it. So our social media has a lot of pictures of clients' food. And so when people go to our social media to kind of, vet us and like, I thought he's managing money. What's he doing with food? So then as I kind of have that conversation with people, they're like, my doctor's not doing that. My lawyer's not doing that. My current financial advisor's not doing that. My tax professor's not doing that. And things like that sets us apart. So when I made the statement earlier, business is business. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you treat your clients properly, if your prices are average or to below average, or even if they're premium, if you're providing a premium service, but if your product's good and you make your clients have a warm and fuzzy feeling, you're going to succeed.
Now, you mentioned you invest a lot of time in sharing educational content. Can you talk about financial literacy, maybe just in a general way, and then maybe share some insights on your opinion on how financially literate, kind of most people are?
Yeah, so unfortunately in our country, we're definitely not as financial literate as other countries. I mean, we see the reading levels that we're at, and we see the math levels that we're at. It's actually appalling. So we like to post content about financial literacy. Now, sometimes that content is low level. Like I did a post literally 2 days ago. We have over 25,000 views. And it was about a business owner, why a business owner should have 3 bank accounts per LLC. Something that you would think a business owner would know because you're in business, but a lot of business owners, say, thank you. I didn't know this. I just have 1 bank account. I got 5 bank accounts. So breaking that down is important. I went viral last year. I had a conversation with my niece who's a senior in high school, and she asked me like, what stock should I buy? And I kind of broke it down, what stock she should buy and why per her age. So financial literacy is so important, but when we look at social media, it's so much other kind of stuff out there that gets our attention that we don't think about finances. And that's why I think that 84% of Americans are 2 paychecks away from having to go into debt to pay bills because we're doing the wrong thing. We receive money. Lee, you probably have people that you know, right? End of the year, they pay their taxes, or on April, they get their taxes, and then June, July, August, the money's gone because you count the money before you actually spend the money. That's why when we help our clients from a tax standpoint, we don't want them to get a refund. Like we look at a refund as the worst thing because you've been overpaying the IRS all year. So if I overpay the IRS all year, I get this big refund. My mindset says I'm get this big refund. So I'm actually counting my money before I actually spend it. So once it comes in my pocket, what we say is we want to have you where you get more money in your check, not less money. Now, so that means your withholdings, so you change your withholdings. But once we do that with that extra money, let's put that extra money into our 401k. So now ain't money, got more, but that extra amount, let's say we get an extra $100 because we changed our withholding per pay period. The extra $100, let's put that to our 401k. Now, over a year, we have another $3, $4, $5,000 in our 401k. Over 10 years, that's another $50, $60, $70,000 by doing that alone. Or let's do an HSA account where you could put money into an account. It's a tax deduction, so it doesn't count towards taxes. But when we take the money out, if it's for something medical, it's tax free, right? So let's say I put my money into an HSA for 4 years, and then I get into an accident or I sprain my ankle, and I don't got the VA, and I got to spend that $10,000 in doctor's bills. Well, that pays it. So the whole time I got a tax deduction for putting money in that account. I take out that money out that account tax free, and it pays for that medical surgery or that cash, or the case may be. Right. So things of that nature we don't know about. We're not literate financially. And that's what our content's about. Just showcasing ways that you can do the same thing you're doing now with the same money that you have now and pay less taxes and build more wealth.
When you're talking to a person that maybe isn't as financially savvy as you, how do you kind of explain the power of compounding and how important that is to start young and to grow your wealth over time without them feeling like because it takes so long for that to happen. They feel like it's kind of it's a waste or it doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah. I like to be visual, right? Because having a conversation is words and words go over your head. So I like to be visual. When I talk to a younger person or a person in their 30s or 40s that hasn't started yet, I always like to bring up a house because with stocks, now historically, now past performance does not guarantee future results, but historically stocks or the stock market has made more over time than real estate. Okay. But I like to use houses as example because houses are tangible. With a stock, what is a stock? Is this thing floating in the air? But a house, like you walked into the house. I put foot in my house. I played in the backyard. So I go to Zillow and I say, look, let's look at the value of your house 20 years ago. Let's say the value of that house was 120,000. And we pull up today, and now that house is worth 300,000. That's compounding interest. Over time, money grows. And as the money grows, I'm making more money on top of it because it's making money on top of itself year after year. So I always like to use that example. I whip out the phone Zillow. What's your old address? How much was it worth? How much it is today? That's compounding interest. So now we have a long-term view. You see, a lot of times, especially with investing, especially today, because of Kalshi, because of the prediction markets, because of day trading, so many people are short term, right? If I invest my money today, how much I'm going to make tomorrow? No one builds wealth in one day. Wealth is built days, weeks, and years. Elon Musk just became the first trillionaire. Elon Musk had 4 businesses that failed, and he'd been working at SpaceX for almost 20 plus years. Tesla for 20 plus years. PayPal 20 plus years ago. It took him almost 30 years to get to that point. Now, it looks like it happened overnight, but wealth is accumulated overnight. So if we show people long term something that they know, which is the house that they lived in, that goes a long way to show them how important compounding interest is and why investing or dollar cost averaging, just putting a little bit here and there over time, goes a long way.
Now, what is your you mentioned it a little bit, but like, what's your feeling about these prediction markets or even these gambling, DraftKings, all these things that where a lot of young people are thinking they're investing when they're gambling? Can you talk a little bit about the dangers of that? Because I see that as almost at an epidemic at this point.
It is. And I just want to say you have two types of way to quote unquote grow your money. Gamble and investing. But when you gamble, you're not growing your money, you're throwing your money. Okay. Casino wins all the time. These prediction markets, more than half the time, you fail. I think it was like an 83% failure rate with these prediction markets, right? So when people say, well, I'm making my money, well, let's put it here. If I invest $100 or if I gamble $100 and I lose, my $100 is gone. I will never get it back. So then my next $100, just to break even, because usually you make about 10% on those things, just to break even, you got to get it right the next 8 times. So the first time I lose, 8 times I got to get it right. Mathematically impossible. Compare that to the stock market. If I invest in the S&P 500, right? Again, not a recommendation because I'm a fiduciary and past performance does not guarantee future results. If I invest in the S&P 500, let's say I invested to it during the worst of worst times, the Great Recession, where it went down by 40%. My $100 went down to $60. Since it's an investment, not a gamble, if I held it, 2 years later, I made my money back. Today, I've quadrupled my money. My friends, gambling, you will lose your money. Investing, it might go down for a few days or a few months or a year, but over time, it always goes up historically. So I don't want anybody to gamble. Those prediction markets, going to the casino, you are going to lose your money. Gambling is totally different than investing. Gambling, again, just remember when you gamble, it doesn't grow, it's thrown away. When you invest, slowly but surely, it's taking those steps up.
Yeah, it blows my mind when you go into one of those casinos. What do people think? Who paid for those casinos? Who paid for those ginormous hotels and casinos? Who do you think? The winners? If everybody was winning, do you think they'd be that big and nice?
Yeah. You know the reason why? You know the reason why? So we call it FOMO, the fear of missing out, right? So when a person goes on online or they see, the casino like the winners and like they're like, you know what? I want to be like them. And they're fearful of missing out on that opportunity. So they're going to put their money in and lose, but then say, you know what? It's the next time. If they can do it, so can I. The prediction markets, man, I just knew that that boxer was going to win that fight and I didn't do it. So next time I'm gonna put more in because I've already missed out. So it's like they're chasing something that already happened. And that's the worst thing you can do, right? It's like a hamster, it's like that wheel, right? You're chasing something that already happened. When you chase things, that's when you lose. Just like with the stock market. When you chase stocks at an all-time high, that's when you lose. You want to buy low. You want to buy something when it's a discount. You don't want to have that FOMO and chase it when it's already up because you're buying it at a wrong price. So I think a lot of times that FOMO or fear of missing out is what keeps people continue to gambling because they're gonna get it that one time and they're fearful that the one time that they miss out is the one time that they lose all that money and they just going to keep on doing it and doing it and doing it. And that's when it becomes addictive.
Now, can you share a little bit about how your military background impacted your career and your path, your entrepreneurial path so far? Like, what'd you get out of it? Did you find that that prepared you to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, and my MOS was a 75 hotel and then a 71 Lima. So hey, you guys, I was a certified paper pusher. So thank you for everybody for the service. Even I was in an operation Enduring Freedom in 2022 and 2023. I mean 2002 and 2003. I was in Kuwait at Camp Doha. I saw no action. Everybody's job. They have a job, but yeah, I was a certified paper pusher. But from an organizational standpoint, you being organized, you having regimen, right? You being able to take orders, listen, and execute, it goes a long way. I have friends in business now that don't have the military background. They're all over the place. From an organizational standpoint, I think I was able to grow this investment firm so quick. We're able to help so many people because of the organizational skills that we have, because of me being able to lead, but at the same time take orders, right? Knowing when to be the chief and knowing when to be the Indian, right? Knowing how to cultivate relationships, having your quote unquote battle buddies, we all know, right? Being able to find common ground with people that maybe demographically I don't agree with, or maybe demographically are not like me, but having that common ground and getting to the mission for the betterment of, in my case, my clients goes a long way. So the military teaches me that structure, the leadership that I talked about, it goes in organization. It goes a long way in my business today.
Now, who is the ideal client for you? Do you have the kind of a prototype client that you like to work with?
Yeah, so we have a ideal client. So typically, because from a business standpoint, when you think about taxes, right, you really can't take advantage of the tax code unless you make more than $60,000 or more revenue. I'm sorry, not revenue, but profit, right? So profit is where I might make 100,000, I got 40,000 in bills, so I profited 60,000 compared to revenue is how much I make minus bills. Because when you hit that $60,000 mark of profit, you're able to be taxed as a business from a sole proprietorship to a S corp. And then that allows you to have now a salary and distribution. You see, if I'm a sole proprietor and I make $100,000, I'm being taxed an extra 15% for, FICO, payroll taxes, Medicare taxes, nothing I can do about it. But if I make 100,000 as a as a S corp, I'm able to pay myself a salary. So I have distribution and salary. Let's say hypothetically I pay myself a salary of 40,000. The business made $100,000. I'm only taxed 15% on that salary I pay myself of $40,000. So that's a $60,000 that's not taxed at 15%. That means each year my business is saving $9,000 a year because of that strategy alone. So for a business, then you got to be profiting at least $60,000. For a W-2 employee, then you got to be making at least $180,000. The reason why is because it's only so much that we can do tax code wise, right? And then if you're still working for your company, you're putting money in your 401k. But when it comes to like having passive income and having more money to invest outside of your 401k, outside of paying bills, usually that $180,000 or more of revenue mark gets there.
So, what do you need more of? How can we help you?
Well, I just appreciate you having me here. Right. So having me here to share my story. I didn't even share my story about me being a disabled veteran. which is kind of a wild story. But yeah, I'm just happy just to help my fellow veterans. Our fellow veterans, I see in business, they're the most successful business owners because of that strategy and structure that I talked about. But unfortunately, it's not a lot of us because we're so used to kind of being regimented. We don't want to kind of take that extra step. So we love to help veterans. We love to help them with their passive income journey. It's either again them starting a real estate journey, them buying the transportation company, them starting a business. How can we structure their LLC? How can we reduce their taxes? How to make sure when they're making money, having investments where the IRS rewards them for their investments inside and outside their business and not being taxed. So we love working with veterans. I'm a fellow veteran myself, so I better love that. But yeah, just me being here is there. But of course, if anybody has questions, they can definitely follow me on my YouTube. Again, I have over 100,000 on YouTube. It's at Painful Profits. That's PAYNEFUL Profits, PROFITS. That's on all social medias. Or if you want to, give us a text because we have a text message automation. You can text message our office. Our office number is 267-551-5572 and text the word vet, VET, and we'll know that it came from the show. We'll make sure that you get your question answered quickly to make sure that we add value.
And the website?
Yeah, website is TOAMS Financial. So www.toams, TOAMS, financial.com. But can I give some advice about websites though? Sites are so 2005, right? Anybody here that's a business owner, instead of having a website, you should have a funnel. Okay, a funnel, funnel. Because a website now, it's just more kind of information and validation. But typically with a website, it gives information and validation, but it stops. If a person spends time going to your website, we have to have some type of call of action, some type of giveaway, something that they could take away from where they continue to engage with you. So, so our website is more of a funnel where you see our information, but we give you things, we give you advice. We actually have a stock picker where depending on your risk tolerance, depending on your age, depending on how you want your money to grow, what are the top 5 stocks that might be best for you? Not a recommendation, but information. We also have, you can go to our website, www.pppdna.com. It's on our website, but it's a separate website. Again, www.pppdna.com. And it actually shows you, based on the questions that you answer, what type of investor are you? If you're a person that likes things fast, you make fast decisions, you might be a person who does day trading from a stock standpoint. You might be a person that's that's a flipper. You're a house flipper, right? But what if you're a person that kind of takes their time? You do research. You like to hold on to things. Well, from a stock standpoint, you're probably a buy and hold investor. From a real estate standpoint, you're probably a buy and hold where you're collecting rental income on a month-to-month basis. Depending on your answers and the psychology and how long it takes you to make those answers, then we have that pppdna.com. And we show you step by step what kind of investor are you, and then action items to execute as that investor.
Well, Mario, thank you so much for sharing your story today. You're doing such important work and we appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me.
All right. This is Lee Cantor. We'll see you all next time on Veterans Business Radio. All right. All clear. Thank you.
Thank you.